Hey guys! So I'm back with another video. Sorry it's been so long. I have had a crazy the past month. So, but I got a new microphone. Well, I did get a new microphone, but apparently my phone didn't recognize it. So yeah, hopefully the audio is okay here. So yeah, anyways, so today I wanted to talk about consumerism. I made a video on this last year, but I didn't really like the way it turned out, and I wanted to do a more updated version and just add more of an analysis of consumerism as it relates to capitalism, and basically just how capitalism's need for perpetual growth has really created this like hyper consumerist, gotta have it all society mentality, and has also managed to replace like any sense of culture or spirituality with very materialistic and superficial, ego gratifying values, right? I mean, so many of us have fallen prey to the influence of corporate politics and the commercialization of culture, and have just been conditioned to believe that the more things we own, the more important, the more valued we are, right? I mean, kids are taught at younger and younger ages, you know, you got to do good at school so you can get into a good college, so you can get a good job, so you can have nice things, and of course so you can become a homeowner, right? Because owning a home is at the core of the American dream, right? Because of course the American dream has nothing to do with like the quality of a person's character and everything to do with how much a person owns. Like, what a great message. And you know, we tend to use shopping as like a sort of a pacifier and learn to equate happiness with stuff, you know? And this frame of mind is seen as normal, like even natural. But it's not. It's really not. I mean, the importance we place on material things is a learned value. Consumerism was purposefully and skillfully crafted in order to satisfy capitalism's incessant need to grow and to maximize profits. I mean, if we look at the evolution from like handicraft to manufacturing to the Industrial Revolution, I mean, these transitions were brought about by the desire to increase productivity in order to increase profit. And, you know, especially as the Industrial Revolution really spread and took hold with, you know, the introduction and the development of complex machinery combined with motive power, especially the invention of the steam engine. I mean, all of this produced the conditions for mass production of goods like never before. And of course, in order to keep this pace going, the capitalist class needed to convince the masses to buy. So, I mean, it was obviously a progression to get to the point where we are at today with like unprecedented levels of production and consumption. But there were a couple pieces of writing that were really influential and helped to persuade people of the importance of participating in the market. In 1723, Bernard Mandeville gained notoriety with his book, The Fable of the Bees, where he lays out a really compelling and of course controversial case for self-indulgent living as the basis for increased employment, trade stimulation, and just a growing and strong economy overall. Adam Smith was very much influenced by Mandeville and of course wrote The Wealth of Nations in 1776, which was a super influential piece of work that advocated individuals all acting in their own self-interest in the free market in order to achieve prosperity for all, right? So it's around this time that we really start to see a change in attitude emerge towards possessions. You know, we see a rise in family disposable incomes, which for the first time allows lower middle-class families the ability to buy luxuries. The Industrial Revolution, of course, which made goods more abundant and cheaper. We see the implementation of advertising and various marketing gimmicks, which becomes key in manipulating the psyche of the population. Skip ahead to the 1920s, and Edward Bernays, who's often credited as being the originator of public relations, steps onto the scene and really begins crafting new and innovative ways to manipulate public opinion. I think it's also worth mentioning that Bernays' uncle was Sigmund Freud, so he really drew off of Freud's theories about human psychology and used this to develop an approach he called the engineering of consent. This involved appealing to people's subconscious mind as opposed to their rational mind in order to convince people to buy things. So, I mean, yeah, you can talk to me all day about how people make rational, logical choices when determining their next purchase, but we all know that's bullshit. I mean, there's a reason stores work with professionals to strategically set up their floor plans in order to promote impulse spending. There's a reason why you walk into Walmart to buy toothpaste and cornflakes and walk out with a carload of unnecessary junk. And there's a reason why makeup companies are making a killing selling pore reducing creams and lip plumping gloss, and it has nothing to do with logic or being rational. Anyways, so back to Bernays. I mean, and he was actually a master of tying products to self-worth and really making you believe that you needed a product in order to like be a better you, right? In the 1930s, he worked with tobacco companies, most memorably, I guess, the American Tobacco Company, in an attempt to increase cigarette consumption among women. In one campaign, he paints cigarettes as torches of freedom, which at the time really appealed to women who felt like their desires were being like suppressed by an increasing patriarchal world. Another one branded cigarettes as appetite suppressants to appeal to a woman's, you know, vanity and desire to be thin. And it worked. It worked so well. The cigarette sales among women boomed. These innovative and manipulative techniques employed by Bernays were then adopted by organizations such as the National Association of Manufacturers, resulting in a massive campaign focused on equating excess consumption and consumerism with the American way, right? It's quite brilliant, really. I mean, I'll link some articles below so you can see exactly how this plan was really crafted. But they basically just put out messages essentially saying that if you aren't buying things, if you aren't participating in this market economy, you're not a real American or a good American. So corporations essentially created all these new markets by developing products to fill a need consumers never knew they had, and then putting out advertisements, which was key to subconsciously convincing the consumer of this need, which then creates the illusion that they are choosing the products themselves, when in reality the whole thing has been unscrupulously and meticulously designed. I mean, it's not like consumers just one day out of the blue started demanding fidget spinners and fake eyelashes. And this type of disposable society is inevitable and actually necessary under capitalism. Capital must circulate faster so profit can be realized sooner, which means things must break quicker and go out of fashion quicker, which is where planned and perceived obsolescence comes into play. I mean, corporations literally sit down and plan out how long a product should work before breaking, so as not to arouse suspicion among the consumer, but also make sure that the consumer will come back for more. And then perceived obsolescence, of course, deals with perception. So although something may be perfectly functional, it is perceived to be going out of style and therefore obsolete. We can see this, you know, with electronics and fast fashion. And this speed up that has taken place, the speed up of production and consumption, has also led to the absolute deterioration of the environment, the proliferation of the meat and dairy industry, meaning we need to cram more and more animals into smaller and smaller spaces to pump cattle and other animals full of dangerous and disgusting growth hormones because they gotta grow faster, they gotta produce milk quicker. I mean, we've just created this like really savage society where everything and everyone is commodified and disposable. And yeah, just going back to the speed up of the circulation of capital and increased consumption, credit was absolutely pivotal in allowing this cycle to continue, allowing consumers to buy now, pay later, which actually created a quick fix at the time for the lack of effective demand due to stagnating wages. Especially, you know, during the 1970s. So people took out automobile loans, they took out mortgages, they took out all kinds of credit card debt, and our system has pretty much been drowning in debt ever since. Of course, leaving the financial industry booming and manufacturers continuing to sell more and more useless crap, pretty much. So, I mean, capitalism has been incredibly adaptive and has managed to evolve quite rapidly, but these are all just temporary fixes to problems that are built into the system itself. Like this system of debt is not just like a side effect or something of capitalism. It's a crucial part of the system that enables it to mushroom and expand beyond its limits. So yeah, this can only last so long. A system that requires infinite growth is just not really sustainable in a world with finite resources. So yeah, I'm just going to end with this quote from retail analyst and economist Victor Lebeau, which really, I think, describes our society perfectly. Mind you, he said this in 1955, so I'd argue it's even more apt in today's society. Our enormously productive economy demands that we make consumption our way of life, that we convert the buying and the use of goods into rituals, that we seek our spiritual satisfactions, our ego satisfactions in consumption. We need things consumed, burned up, worn out, replaced, and discarded at ever-increasing pace. So yeah, that about sums it up. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. As usual, I always love to hear your comments, and subscribe. So thanks so much for watching, guys.